Good afternoon, Frederick. Welcome back to the Blaine Young Show on 930 WFMD. Tomorrow is primary election day in the city of Frederick. If you're a Democrat or Republican and registered to vote, please vote. And if you do not know where your polling location is, please go on the city website and/or, I guess if you need some help, call City Hall, 301-600-1380. And it's pretty much like this. If you voted at a school, you're not voting at a school this time around, so you need to find your new voting location. If you voted somewhere that's not a school, then you're probably voting at the same place. But double-check your voter registration card, and also, again, you can go to the city website. Talking now with Alderman Paul Smith. How you doing, Paul?
Hey, great, Blaine. And by the way, the newspaper has printed maps and locations, too, so I think it was in Sunday's paper, as I recall.
Yes, it was. And just got to talk to another fellow alderman that is running for re-election. And those that are running for re-election, your interviews are a little bit different. But we always start out with, if someone was just tuning in right now, they don't know who Paul Smith is. Tell us who Paul Smith is, personally, professionally, a little bit of both.
Well, I'm 59 years old. I'm an attorney. I've been in practice for 30 years. I have 9 kids that have graduated from Frederick High School. I have the greatest campaign manager of all the candidates. That's my wife, who has hiked the streets of Frederick with me. And so for years I coached my kids and been active in my church and in Boy Scouts. But as most of the kids have left, I've got one 13-year-old girl left at the house. But I just felt I could contribute. And I think my experience as a lawyer, frankly, it does help. We really deal with, as you know, some pretty complex issues, and sometimes the input that I have been able to make, I feel, has been very helpful. So I do get a satisfaction of helping. I feel I've been a help to the city.
All right, now why are you running for re-election?
Well, I enjoyed that. It's some service. You know, Ben Franklin said that when you get to the point in your career when you've taken care of your families and provided for yourself, you ought to see if you can give back a little bit to the community. So I've done it 4 years. I think I got 4 more in me, and then I may move on to other things. But
well, what do you are the issues that you ran on 4 years ago, are they the same issues in this election, or you find yourself, the difference between running for someone that's never been elected, now you're an incumbent, you have a 4-year record to run on. Do you find your, what your platform is and what you're talking to folks about or they're talking to you about is different this time around?
Much of it is the same. 4 years ago, I had 3 main issues to work on: transportation and roads. That was one. To hold the line on the budget was another. And the third one was just kind of general, making this a great community for families. All those continue to be important. The budget one, we know we're going to have some difficulty there. I think that what I've done in the past term demonstrates that my type of approach will be helpful. I'll give you 2 examples. Recently, when it was brought to the attention that retirees, they have COLAs, cost of living adjustments. And this year, for the first time in about 30 years, the COLAs weren't going up anymore. They actually were going to go down, and I felt they should go down. And I was outvoted 4-1. And that, when you deal with those issues, that's going to end up costing at least another $600,000. But we are going to be having to make those types of decisions. We're going to have to cut people from jobs, and that's a hard decision. But
now you just brought up, one of the things that and when the primary's over, we are going to do a forum with multiple folks in the studio that are running for office. So we will talk to those that are victorious tomorrow in kind of a forum-style format. But you know this, that whoever is elected, it ain't going to be, rosy for the next 4 years. There is going to have to be some serious decisions made, tough decisions, human capital decisions, as this year was tough enough.
No, you're exactly right, because you're either going to have to cut some positions or do furloughs, or another thing that I think we have to consider is dealing with benefits. And I'm sure many people have heard this, but we are now paying about a little over 60% extra in benefits for employees. It used to be about 30% about 20, 25 years ago. And we got to come to grips with that. That's just a lot of money. And we have had premier benefits. It has been, the pay for working with the city has been a little lower than private industry, but the benefits have been super. And, we're going to have to address that just because we're not going to be able to sustain that. So that it's going to be hard to do that.
We'll talk about some of your accomplishments this past 4 years. Some of the things that you're happy with. Some of the things that were completed.
Well, as the whole administration and board did several things that were good. The passing of the Potomac River Water Supply Agreement, we did that very early. That was very important because the county was building this gigantic pipe to bring water in from the Potomac, and we were asked to contribute to the building of it so that we could also share the water. And securing that water, I think, was very important, and it was expensive, but we did that. But that will be very valuable to the city in the future. We also passed an APFO. We not as good a one as the county would like, but I think a very, very good one nevertheless.
Well, it's one that didn't have the school component, which I know the county would like you to have. But how do you have a component in a ordinance that you all have no say or control over?
Well, exactly. And they talk about Frederick High. Well, we're not going to be able to do some things in Frederick High if you do the annexations, for example. Well, my kids went to Frederick High. They were in the portables and suffering in an overcrowded school, and I didn't complain. It has allowed the county to build Tuscarora High and Urbana High. You're always going to be dealing with overcrowding before you get the needed schools. So, but we have an APFO, and I think that was good. Frankly, one of the things I've spent a lot of time with, and I think it's very important, is roads and transportation. And the main road problems that we face need to be dealt with on the state and federal government levels. But nevertheless, we have an opportunity and a need to have input with the county and with these agencies to get their attention to help point out what we need to do. And it's been satisfying to me to work there. There's still a long ways to go.
Well, Frederick County just made a new inroad in transportation as the newly appointed Transportation Secretary. Beverly Swam Staley received her bachelor's and master's degrees from Hood College.
Good.
So hopefully
she'll be familiar with the Frederick area.
Yeah, she'll be a little bit familiar with our area and what's going on here. You have some of the infrastructure, East Street Extension, Monocacy progress with moving towards the groundbreaking and completion of Monocacy Boulevard.
The East Street, that was something that was worked on for many years, and it's finally coming to fruition. We get to be here at the time when it's coming through, and that's
nice, isn't it?
It really is wonderful. What a benefit. And, for those who've been involved, it has taken years for this to happen. One of the issues that is very important right now that people need to be aware of and begin to mention whenever they can is with this $4 billion multimodal I-270 US 15 study. One of the issues right now is the building of the 3 bridges in Frederick on 15. That's at 7th Street, Rosemont, and 40. Those are part of that project, and the state is right now setting priorities. And we want these to be a high priority before they do some of the massive building they're planning down in Montgomery County. They're talking about a whole new interchange down there near north of Gaithersburg. And these relatively minor or less expensive projects are just will have a gigantic regional alleviating effect. So that's one that, we don't vote on that, but we can be a voice and help it happen.
All right. Talking with Alderman Paul Smith. We're going to take a quick break. Paul, do you have a website?
I do. www.cpaulsmith.com.
All right. For more information on his candidacy for re-election to the Board of Aldermen. Let's take a quick break. NZ Kramer and Son